Let's talk about how to create a confidence interval for a proportion. So like I said, the calculation isn't really too complicated. You just use this formula. You take p hat, which is your sample proportion, and you do plus or minus this thing called z star multiplied by the standard error of p hat. So we've essentially got three pieces here. P hat is the simplest, z star is new. Z star comes from the normal model and the confidence level. So usually you don't need to come up with this on your own. You just have a table and you look it up. These three are the most common: 90, 95, and 99% confidence. And so Z star for 95% comes from the normal model like this. If you can see this screenshot from GeoGebra, is the middle 95% of the normal model is from Z equals negative 1.96 to 1.96. So that's where this number comes from. Similarly, if we put in negative 2.56 to 2.56, we get 99% here, because we saw that the distribution of p hat was normally distributed, so we used the normal model to come up with this. So the interesting piece here is this thing called the standard error of p hat. In previous videos, we looked at the standard deviation of p hat, which is similar, except the standard deviation of p hat, the formula has p 1 minus p. The problem here is that we don't know the value of p. That's the entire point. We're trying to come up with an interval estimate for it. So you think of the standard error as sort of the standard deviation of our normal model, except that we don't know p, so we have to use p hat as an approximation. We're really piling approximations onto approximations when we do confidence intervals. But after you come up with one, you just put the numbers in this formula, and you get two numbers, a lower end and an upper end. And then the interpretation is that we are C% confident that the proportion of whatever that does has whatever is between lower and, it cut off here, but it's between lower and upper. The other thing you might be asked is to calculate the margin of error. Well, the margin of error is simple. It's just the second part of this formula here. This whole quantity after the plus or minus is referred to as the margin of error. So your interval you sometimes see written as p hat plus or minus the margin of error as a single number. One caution in this formula is p hat, z star, and standard error of p hat are all single numbers. Sometimes people in this formula will do standard error times p hat. I know we've probably seen parentheses for multiplication in a lot of math classes before, but this is more like function notation. So the standard error of p hat is one single number. So let's look at a couple examples of how to calculate these for specific situations.